In this world of so much negative news, we need inspiration. Be Inspired is created for appreciative audiences just like you. So please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any of our upcoming inspiring stories.
The gratitude that we receive each and every day is motivation and inspiration to keep making it better, to keep working on it, to refining it, and to never quit.
Be Inspired podcast. Real stories from real people. Sharing stories of love and loss, struggles and perseverance, laughter and tears, and overcoming adversity.
For any woman who is in the fight of her life battling cancer, you just need the opportunity once in a while to be a woman and deserve to be pampered and treated well and loved. Hi, I'm Bert Baron.
And I'm Lisa Anderson.
And we welcome you to a very special edition of Be Inspired. And this season is brought to us by IgA Neuropathy Foundation. Something very special about a special place, Lisa, in a small beach town along the New Jersey shore that is really doing miraculous things. And I'm excited to be spotlighting Mary's Place by the Sea on today's episode.
There's no other place like Mary's Place. What started out, and Michele will tell us, as a small idea, has just blossomed into something wonderful. So glad you are here.
It's such an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I truly appreciate the opportunity to share more about our mission and raise awareness around the community.
All our pleasure to have you here. Tens of thousands of women, Michele, who point to their experience and their just how they were treated at Mary's Place by the Sea, who used that as the starting point to their recovery. That was when their lives began to come back to them. And they remembered that their wives, their daughters, their mothers, and their people, just to have that opportunity to get away from hospitals and treatments and everything else, to just be a woman and be treated like a woman. What a difference that must make in the lives of so many people. And that's what Mary's Place by the Sea is all about.
Yes, and for those of us who are involved in that, to be called to do something like that and be a piece of that puzzle and that journey is such a blessing, and it's life-changing for everyone involved, volunteers, practitioners, and our staff.
Mary's Place has been so successful because it's built on love.
It's a whole different world here. It's very uplifting, very supportive, and you're not alone when you walk into Mary's Place.
The common denominator is not just cancer. The common denominator is a woman trying to live her life as best she can.
When I said it started out as a small idea, it's always the things that you would never think that take your life on a completely different direction. Like, I often wonder, what would you be doing now, Michele, if you hadn't become involved with Mary's Place? And you just say, well, I have no idea. I wanted to do this, but God had other plans. And take us back to the beginning when it all
definitely plucked me out. I was a German teacher at Monmouth University, and I was on sabbatical home raising my children. And I was homesick with the flu. Not a very romantic story, but 3 small kids piled around me in bed, poking me. Are you better now? Now? Can you get up? And I remember thinking that I just felt desperate. Like, how am I going to just get myself out of bed and try to pull myself together for these children who are used to me bearing all these responsibilities? And then it struck me, like, what does a woman do when she has a long-term illness like cancer? No one is giving her permission, but most importantly, she's not giving herself permission to just hit the pause button, close the door, and say, I need a minute. I need a minute to gather myself. Now, you insert something like a cancer treatment where you have regular infusions, doctor's appointments, all of your responsibilities stay the same. And now this is an interruption.
Huge.
And if we are not giving ourselves the time to catch our breath and hit the pause button, as we like to say, then how can the body heal? The body is screaming out to you, I need some attention here, I need some rest. But it's not happening. So in that thought, I just started praying about it and obsessing about it. And Mary came to me in a dream. and walked me through the streets of Ocean Grove and told me exactly what I should do. And I do mean very specifically. At that moment in that dream, I'm a bit of a bossy person, so I decided to take over the dream and say, "Oh, I got this." And she swiftly corrected me and said, "No, you're going to go in this direction." And I'm so glad that I was able to quiet myself and humble myself enough to allow her to speak to me and through me and show me this is what was going to happen. And so Mary's Place by the Sea is inspired by Mary. It is non-denominational, but I can tell you there's just love and hope flowing through that home, and you cannot deny it. Now we're in our 13th year. As you had said, over 12,000 women. And that's pretty incredible just to say, I'm an average mom in this community. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get started. But it all came together with the right people at the right time. And it is a thriving mission.
It was really a calling for you, Michele.
Absolutely.
If there ever was a textbook example of a calling to make a difference in this world, I mean, look, we're talking tens of thousands of women who, it's hard to just measure the amount of impact that Mary's Place by the Sea has had in their lives. And you're living proof that you answered a calling and you're making a difference. And why Ocean Grove? Why not Ocean Grove? It's
Right.
For any of our non-New Jersey listeners or viewers, it's just this quaint little town, very quiet town on the Jersey Shore. And what a great place just for someone to just escape and put life behind them for a little while.
Right.
And that's part of the mission too for these women. Like, forget about everything else that's going on. There's no alarm clocks. You're not on anybody's schedule. This is all about you, and you deserve it.
Exactly. There's no TV. When the guests arrive, it's by reservation. When they come to the door, often the body language lets us know how they're feeling: weary, broken, exhausted, nauseous, wondering how much longer can I keep doing this day after day? When is it going to clear? When will the road clear? And to have 150 volunteers and a staff of 6 of us, all passionate to make a difference for 2 nights and 3 days in this woman's life, to put her on a road to heal. Mm-hmm. It's so impactful. And we watch it happen in a transition with all of our supportive services like oncology massage and Reiki and guided meditation and nutritional classes and support. And just watching the women sit around the living room, the aesthetic is so important. It's non-institutional. It's like you're in someone's home at a bed and breakfast, looking at the ocean. To watch the phones get tucked away, the mind kind of slow down.
Yeah.
Come out of a spa room with sheet marks on your face so you know that they rested, and not feel like they have to put their head covering back on, feel very free, and listen to the chatter and the laughter. It is so emotional. It brings tears to our eyes because we know that they're going to leave differently. And that's the goal, and I feel like we achieve it each and every week.
I don't think, Michele, that the women who come to Mary's Place realize how stressed and tired and just completely empty they are until they get a chance to stop and think about that. And I would imagine there's a lot of tears along with the laughter, just that release that you have. You have women waiting on the list from all over the world,
Yes.
which is totally incredible. Moved to a beautiful brand new building, which is just, we all need Mary's Place. I'm like, when can I come for a weekend? I'll just come there to volunteer because it is so needed. I like the fact that there is the holistic end of it.
Right.
That is so important. I mean, you just get bombarded with all the treatments and the
Right.
chemo and the, like you said, your hair but that holistic is just so important moving forward, even when you leave there. All that energy that you gathered from that. Take us through a day. I know there's a special chef you have.
Yes.
That just, it's so nourishing.
You brought up a really good point, because we don't even know what we need until we're so far behind.
Right.
It's sort of like dehydration. When you're guzzling water, you didn't know how dehydrated you were.
It's true.
And I think oftentimes through a traumatic experience, we're in survival mode. So we don't really get the perspective of like, what do I need? And oftentimes on the phone, when we're meeting a guest for the very first time through a phone conversation, they'll say, well, I'm not sick enough. What? Who can say that? You're sick. It doesn't matter if it's stage 0 or stage 4. You have cancer, and you need to take time to work through that. And when a guest is coming to us, we often know that they're trying to be brave and strong and, let me just come and see what this is about. And we try within the first few hours to have every guest have a private session in the spa room where they're having a session with a practitioner that quiets their heart. It quiets their breathing.
Yes.
And they can hear themselves. They can hear the head chatter. And when they come out of there, it's definitely emotional because what I've had guests share with us is, if I'm going to get through this, I'm going to need to change my mindset, and it starts here. Wow. And we take that responsibility on so it's huge for us to know that. And we can't bring them through a counseling session and keep them with all of these unopened or just opened wounds and not bring closure to it so that they're prepared to leave and go back to their home life.
Right.
So everything is well thought out. You mentioned our chef and our kitchen and our diet. It started out as, I would say 13 years ago, the medical community was choose one or the other. Choose conventional therapy or holistic therapy, but you couldn't really combine them. And thankfully, the words like integrative are now widely used. And that's the thought at Mary's Place is take care of the mind, body, and soul, and it helps the medicine become much more efficient. And so it is integrative. It's allowing the guest to become an active participant in her treatment, not just, I'm just going to lay here and hopefully this doctor can fix me. And so we're taking a little bit of that burden away from the doctors as well, and they're communicating that with us. We ask our guests to communicate with their doctors. Let them know you're coming to Mary's Place. Let them know what you want to take part in. And it's just, it's inspiring to watch.
Yeah. Let them know what you need. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So each woman's groups are their individual and group sessions. The individual sessions are for them to sort of realize like, okay, I need to change. Let me just hit the pause button. The group sessions allow them to say, I'm not alone. I'm not suffering alone, and we call it in quiet desperation. There are other women going through the same thing. And we love to watch where maybe one guest needs to be lifted up a little more, and maybe another guest is feeling really strong, and that it helps her to be able to be that one who's lifting her up. So when they're exchanging phone numbers before they leave, they stay connected, and that sisterhood just keeps flowing. And awesome. It truly is a community that is thriving with over 13,000 women. And when a guest passes away, and we attend those funerals, so many of those other guests are there and sending her off. And so I know that it's just, what Mary's Place does is it just ignites the spark. And then the healing starts happening, and the sisterhood starts happening, and the fellowship, and it's life-changing for everyone.
Yeah, I'm sure I could just see a transition, Michele, when someone who is maybe new to Mary's Place, that first time they make that visit, they're scared, they're unsure, they don't know what to expect. Yeah. How will I compare to the other people who are here? And I'm sure by the time they get to the end of that first day, they're taking you by the hand and saying thank you, because I feel like I got a part of my life back today.
The gratitude is fueling. The gratitude that we receive each and every day is motivation and inspiration to keep making it better, to keep working on it, to refining it, and to never quit. in spite of all the adversity that happens and the challenges in starting a nonprofit. You know, one of the things that I will probably have on my gravestone is ignorance is bliss, because it is so bliss. If you think about all the things that are going to happen when you start this idea and this calling, no one would ever take a step forward. So we've just been rolling through it because, and I say failing forward, because of the women we serve and the gratitude.
You know, people don't realize too, Michele, when you get a cancer diagnosis, the whole family is affected, every aspect of it. And we can say it over and over, but until you're in that position, little things, food shopping or taking the kids somewhere, or everyone is affected. So it's so important. I would imagine even the families, when mom goes to this retreat, they must be very happy for her. And it must have been a really tough couple of years for you, looking back on the pandemic with no meetings, no retreats, and you're feeling so desperate to bring your
Right.
sisters, your women back to Mary's Place. I'm so glad.
So March
are back.
13th, 2020 was our last in-person retreat before the state of emergency happened. By March 15th, because you take a minute and say, oh no, what are we going to do for our community? By March 15th, I had an email out to every one of the practitioners and said, okay, there's this thing called virtual. How are we going to transition? And by March 17th, we had a virtual program starting to flourish.
Wow.
I can tell you now, in 2 years, if anything good came out of COVID, it was this virtual program. So now we have over 70 sessions per month.
Wow.
We have over 700 women throughout the whole world, Cape Town, South Africa, England, London, England, in Spain, Positano, Italy. They're coming on board to our virtual sessions. Anything that we could pivot to make it virtual, we did. So Reiki, yoga, we do reflexology, and we teach them how to do reflexology on themselves. We have cooking classes. We have afternoon teas. We wanted to keep the women thriving. Now, our guests who didn't know how to use technology, we were driving iPads all over the state and showing them
There's
through
a will,
the window.
there's a way.
Turn it
Wow.
on here, flip, go this way, you know. And Geraldine, we're looking at your pants, put it up, you know, like all these things. And we have this community now that they stayed together. And because so many of the women are immunocompromised and their doctors are saying, it's kind of lightening up now, but they were saying for the longest time, you can't go into a group setting. Your immune system is just too weak. This was a way for them to continue the services and really stay connected.
Good.
And it was a beautiful thing. We're keeping that program as a pillar because
awesome.
for the women who can't get to us or they're on a wait list and they can't get a reservation because we are reopened in-house, this is a way for them to stay in the mode of healing and take part of all in the services.
That's awesome. So glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we missed enough, and good thing you're keeping it going now.
Yeah, I'm glad, of course, that you've gotten so much national and international attention for Mary's Place by the Sea. I think back to a few years ago, Sarah McLachlan, the renowned musician, toured Mary's Place by the Sea and even did one of the most beautiful solo concerts in Asbury Park at the Paramount Theater that I'll never forget, to be just surrounded by so many powerful and inspiring people and just what her music meant to them and the message. And it just reminded us that there is hope for everyone. And like you said,
Yes.
never give up. And
Yeah.
it was a special moment that I will remember the rest of my life.
So will I. You know what was so special about Sarah coming was she spent half a day with us in the house, and she really got it.
Yeah.
And then from what she picked up, she wove it into her concert and helped us spread awareness to everyone who was attending, was this is what we're about. Because we're not a national known mission, you know, well, what is it, what do they do? And to be able to say that in 13 years, we've never had to charge a guest a single dollar.
It's incredible.
It's a miracle.
Yeah.
And we do that because of the community. We do it because of people like Sarah McLachlan, John Bon Jovi threw a concert for us at the Count Basie. And it's been really wonderful to be in the community that we live in.
That's so awesome, really. And it makes the women that come to Mary's Place, to know so many people care about them, about the retreat. Where do you see yourself in the coming years, Michele?
I'm so excited for the future. And my board, they had a net on me for a little while, but then they knew, like, there's just no holding back.
The bossy came out again.
Yeah. So in our last meeting, there was this new business section that we haven't really had much. And I was like, oh, I have some new business. And so before I asked the question, of course, I knew the answer. And we are going to start a capital campaign. We are researching to move into another area within the United States. And when we have such a wait list, when people say, oh, you need a larger home, we don't need a larger home. We just need more of them.
More.
The vision is to keep them small and intimate so that every woman there feels like it is an individual program for her. Queen for 2 nights and 3 days, getting whatever she needs to do, 2 retreats a week. So it's about 100 women a year, and we can just keep going, or 100 retreats a year. So we can keep going 1,000 women a year, and now just expand that into other parts of the country. And that is what's on the to-do list now. Mary's Place is here for a long time. It's going to be around.
A chance to have some fun and make
Yeah.
a real difference. Where can someone learn more about Mary's Place by the Sea, Michele?
Right at our website, marysplacebythesea.org. Everything's there.
Easy
Well, on
enough.
behalf of tens of thousands of
So
lives
great.
that you've changed, including mine, I can't tell you how many rock concerts I've been to. That one sticks with me. It was just one of the most special evenings
saying that. I'm
of
glad.
my life, and I'll always be thankful for that. And thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
I'm Bert
Michele.
Baron.
And I'm Lisa Anderson.
And we thank you for watching Be Inspired.
Hi, my name is Michele Gannon. I'm the executive director and a co-founder of Mary's Place by the Sea. I believe that our community is more inspiring than people realize. And to get out and volunteer and support one another and lift one another up is the way that you can actually find yourself. I'm amazed each and every day at how good people are. And these stories just need to get told, and people need to feel the goodness. And that just is like a butterfly effect across the world. This show is one of those reasons, and this one of the vehicles for giving everyone that story of how good people are. And I'm inspired to be here.
Next on Be Inspired. The company that I worked for wanted to have a guest speaker for some big event. I said, it would be nice to have, I read about these 3 doctors, and the 3 doctors were able to come together and recognize that even with not having fathers in their lives, even with growing up very poor, that being physicians was something that they could actually do and accomplish because they were very smart young men. I was moved to tears. I felt like they were talking to me.
Be Inspired with your hosts Bert Baron and Lisa Anderson Puleo. Directed by Rod Weber, created and produced by Michael R. Doyle. Co-producers Bert Baron, Lisa Anderson Puleo, Rebecca Gruber, and Erwin Sternberg. Executive producers Rod Weber and Sean M. Sternberg. Editor Rebecca Gruber. Filmed at New Beginnings Foundation, Wall Township, New Jersey. The IJ Nephropathy Foundation was established in 2004 to find better treatments and ultimately a cure for this chronic kidney disease, which can end in dialysis and needing a kidney transplant. For more information, please visit IGAN.org. In this world of so much negative news, we need inspiration. Be Inspired is created for appreciative audiences just like you. So please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any of our upcoming inspiring stories. Be Inspired is filmed in front of a live audience. If you would like to attend a filming of Be Inspired, or if you know someone who has an inspirational story that should be shared with the world, please contact us at info@mrdproductionsllc.com. That's info@mrdproductionsllc.com.